bullying was very rampant across the country because strikes were happening. So and I confirmed my fear on the day I was admitted because by then I was very tiny in body when I was joining it from one Msingu. And like primary school, Msingu, it was survival for the fittest. Now you have to fight so that you can get what you wanted. Even
it was fun, you know,
like, it was hooliganism. Ilikuwa maandamano.
Yeah, like you, that's what ama nyinyi ndio mnazoma zile streets. You know, I've been wondering watu wa kuandamana wanatoka wapi, kumbe ni nyinyi mlitoka high school na hiyo tabia. We went with the Home Science project. Nakumbuka Msingu hakukuwa na unauza sabuni kwenda kula chapati.
Sisi la tuongelea another day. So
G
ile yenye ilikuwa imejaa Waluya.
Class literally watu walikuwa wanaongea
Luya, yes.
Remember we'll go switch off security light, tuna sneak, tunaenda home, tunarudi, bado security lights ziko off, we switch them back on and no one will never notice. Hello everyone, welcome, and today we're just having a conversation with a friend of mine. We've known each other for quite some time, for over almost 13 years now. This is someone we went to school with in high school, and we just are here to talk about how life was back then, how life has been along the way, you know, just bringing back memories, kujua penye tulitoka, the kind of life we lived in high school. So my friend, introduce.
My name is Daudi Wawire, and I want to start by saying thank you for the invitation.
Karibu.
Na niko hapa leo tupige hii shughuli. Yeah, we can try and remember the memories we had in school.
Yeah, because whatever we had in school is what made us who we are right now.
Yeah.
You know, it was part of our journey that we were having. So Daudi, just to start with, how did you find yourself in Msingu? Was it your dream school or uliamka tu siku moja ukajipata kwa Msingu?
Honestly, I never wanted to join Msingu. Msingu was not my school of choice at the beginning, but I later came to love it after joining it. Initially, I wanted to join the top creams like Alliance, Nairobi School, and on provincial level I wanted to do Kakamega High School. But eventually when the results came, none of the schools that I had chosen I managed to get an admission. So through my uncle who was in Msingu, was able to organize and get for me and got for me an admission letter, and that's how I later ended up joining Msingu. Yes.
Oh, that's nice. So how did I find myself in Msingu? Actually, Msingu was among the schools I nearly choose, because I remember obviously kwanga na hiyo kuchoose national and all that. So definitely we had the Alliance and whatever, but for some reason I knew that was not my goal. I never wished to go, like it was not my dream to go to the Alliance, but nilikuwa na choose as a formality. So my top two ilikuwa Msingu and Kakamega. So for some reason I knew I would end up there, and this is because I had cousins who were ahead of me, and one was in Msingu, another one is Kakamega, the other one was in Kumu. So I knew I would land in one of the schools, you know, but my top choice was Kakamega. So then you see at home, it was more of a competition. The cousins, all of them wanted me to be in the schools that they were in. So it happened. Actually, my first admission letter ilikuwa ya day school. So ikakuja Shikoho, and I was like, what? And then I got another one, I don't know, Lusuma, I don't know even where it is. And then now Msingu came. So after I had gotten admission at Msingu, later on, after I had started admission progress, buying stuff, uniform and all that, that's when barua ya Kakamega ikakuja. So anyway, I just decided I'll settle for Msingu. And that's how I ended up in Msingu. So Daudi, I'm curious. Now umetoka class 8. What kind of school were you in primary school, and what was your experience now transitioning to high school?
In high school, my KCP I did in a primary school in Mumias. It was a boarding. It was called St. Peter's Mumias. So to me, transitioning going to high school in a boarding school wasn't an issue. I can say it elicited different emotions. At the same time, I was happy. I was feeling that maybe I was moving from wearing a short now. We're going to
putting on trousers.
by then that was a big deal. Now
Yes,
it's not
yes.
like nowadays. Primary school students, they put on trousers. So to me, I feel that that's a milestone. And I really looked towards joining the high school. The moment I joined, I reported. Now that's when the reality started hitting me. Because I remember by then, the time you were joining high school, bullying was very rampant across the country because our strikes were happening. So at this, and I confirmed my fear on the day I was admitted. Because by then I was very tiny in body when I was joining Form 1. Even if I were to show you my photos, I think ilikuwa mdogo sana.
Yeah, I remember.
Ilikuwa mdogo sana. So I don't know if I should call it culture shock or what, because when I got to Msingu, was watu walikuwa wazee sana. Walikuwa mabuda nini. And maybe if you allow me to say that, hata mtu alikuwa na ndevu kama hizi zako na ako hata Form 2. So to me,
so in short, na maisha naweza rudi Form 2 sahi. I'm still young.
By then hata kama ungekuwa Form 1, you could have done for Form 1.
Yeah. So now umeingia high school. I want to know, now that you are in a boarding primary school,
yes,
and now you've transitioned to high school, which is still a boarding. So what is the difference between maisha boarding ya primary na high school?
Okay, there's a lot of differences. Because in Msingu, unlike primary school, Msingu, it was survival for the fittest. Now you have to fight so that you can get what you wanted. Even going to buy a loaf of bread with your own money,
it's a struggle.
You had to scramble on the school canteen with the people so that you can be able to get the bread, to be able to buy the bread, and you mark you, the time was limited.
So we're working within a time frame of 30 minutes.
You're working within a time frame of 30 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah. I can say that it wasn't easy, but as I say, you're a human being. You
have to adapt.
You have to adapt. You can go beyond limits. Tulimanage, tulifika mahali tukaadapt, and then tukapenda tukafika mahali we loved Msingu. We became part of the system.
Yeah. Because me, I think for me, unlike you, when you left a primary boarding school, joining a high school, which is again a boarding school, for me, I was in a day school in primary. Okay, and now this is my first time in a boarding school. So already I have that fear of waking up early. Now I'm being told you have to wake up at 4:30, and I'm like, nimeweza kuamka 6. Now I have to wake up at 4:30. How am I going to survive? Also, the issue of the kind of students that were in school then. These guys were huge. Watu walikuwa wakubwa, and you're like, how am I even going to survive? Because you don't know the difference between a teacher and a student. Because I remember even there's this guy mwenye alikutananga na head, because our head was tall. Shisia or someone.
I think by the time you're joining Form 1, there was this guy called Elvis. Not Elvis, Shisia. Is it Evans Shisia? I don't know the name. But
someone. So alikuwa big. I remember Form 1 akiambia mwalimu naweza pata wapi kiti,
Yes.
And mind you, these are a fellow student. But they are so big. So I think now in the high school watu kuna na mili ndogo.
Yes.
So for me it was kind of a struggle, but again I didn't have a hard time because I knew most of the Form 4s, because I had a cousin of mine who was in Form 4 by then, and most of his friends are my friends. So at least it give me a reprieve. Nilikuwa najua as much as I'm here, I'm a Form 1, I have people who can protect me. So I didn't have that much fear of you're just a stranger and you're meeting these huge people. So I think that's what made me somehow survive. So now let's look at now your life from Form 1 going through Form 2. How did it now feel now that, because I remember in high school kulikuwa na these things zenye if you are in Form 1, most of the manual work nyinyi ndio mnafanya and all that, nyinyi ndio mna mop and all that. So how did it feel living your life Form 1 now transitioning to Form 2? At least there's some sort of freedom kidogo.
I can say transitioning from Form 1 to Form 2 was among the best feeling being in Msingu High School, because now you're looking at now that you have graduated from Form 1, we are going to Form 2 now, you're expecting other Form 1s now.
Mhm.
And I think transitioning to Form 2, the moment which I can say that I longed for is to the admission of other
Form 1s.
Form
They
1s,
come from us.
so that we can be able to say, if you can allow me to use the word, so that we can be able to also exercise our power. So
Of
at
course,
least we
yes.
can also have people, we can be able to have also people whom we can also bully.
Yeah. Actually, because I think the issue of bullying, it was more of like you are always looking forward to having someone under you.
Exactly.
Because being a Form 1 ilikuanga ni stress, because if Form 2 mistreat na Form 4, Form 3, they pile all the pressure for Form 1. Everyone wants to have that power.
I think it was a great feeling, I can say, transitioning from Form 1 to Form 2 by then.
I think that was good. So now kuna issue of, let's talk a bit about academic. So how was life in class now all through your life at Msingu?
I can say my academic wise in Msingu, I was not an academician. Maybe I can say I was an average student. Because I never took academics so seriously until I joined campus, because I did all that a normal student could do. I could make noise. Also, I was caught in the wrong most of the time. I can't say I wasn't into much into books.
Actually, most of us, and I think this is something I really want to talk about, and in terms of even what is happening in schools right now, and how parents raise children, or how even institutions treat students. Because you find we live most of our life in high school thinking we were, if I can use it loosely, stupid, because we always wanted to compare ourselves to the who's and who's, like watu wenye walikuwa napata A's and all that. And I actually say, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its entire life knowing it's a failure. So what I came to realize is we have different people are gifted differently. Okay, we have those people who are gifted in books, like those fast learners, and then we have us average students who are not so good in class, but we're good at something else. Okay, but now the system has not been designed to allow everyone to do what they're good at. Okay, so you see, like now, the same way you're saying you're an average student, for during that time we were like failures. That's why terms like mwalimu wa math hapa ni wapi, because you see, but then the terms would be like, well, after you will not amount to anything because you fail mathematics, you fail and all that. But you find these people, when you come out here, we have different strengths and abilities. Which were your strongest subjects in high school?
In terms of subjects, I was an art student. Basically, when I speak of arts, I was good in Kiswahili. I was good in history. I was good in theory. But when it comes to sciences, I wasn't a good student in sciences. Maybe I can say because of attitude, maybe towards some teachers, or maybe the notion that was perpetuated when you are joining high school. Because I remember when we were joining high school, you could be told by the Form 2s, Form 3s, Form 4 that math is difficult.
And then there's this common thing they used to say, because I got to learn about even before I joined high school, and I came to high school already knowing there's something called mole concept, and it's difficult. So I hated physics and chemistry from the word go, even before I interacted with it at any point.
Because also that was the same case with me, because I can say, because I completely had a negative attitude towards some subjects. I never wanted even to give it a try. So that's how I ended up being an art student. Kupenda mambo ya history, Kiswahili nini, but when it came to mambo ya sciences, I think the only science which I tried maybe was biology. But when it came to chemistry, I wasn't good, honestly.
Because I remember I dropped physics in actually, like, I dropped physics in Form 1 before. We used to choose subjects in Form 2. But by Form 1 I had already made up my mind. I'm not going to do physics, because I remember our class teacher then, he was a good friend of mine. He told me you'll do physics. I told him, no, you're my friend, but on this one, trust me, I'm not continuing with physics. So it went, but even me, I was not good in sciences, but when it comes to humanities and languages, I was, like I said, I was pretty good at them. So now we've talked about academics. Now let's look at now life in general. What are some of your highlights, the best moments? Like if you had a chance to go back to high school today, you'll go because of whatever best moments that you had.
Definitely. If I had a chance to go back to Msingu, the moments that I enjoyed were the outings. When I talk about outings, I talk about events such as music festivals. I talk about drama, games,
sporting activities.
Yes. But on my case, I majored. I wasn't a sports person. I wasn't into sports, but in Msingu we had I know you can remember kwa Kiswahili walikuwa wanajulikana kama Jombi.
Cheering squad.
We used to yes, cheering squad. So I was part of the cheering squad, and I believe at that during those times we really had a lot of highlights, because during those times cheering squad was I can say to enjoy, because by then Msingu sports wise we are doing very well. Because I can remember one of the highlights was during the 2010 provincial
between Kakamega
and Msingu, where we went and did our things. We helped our boys secure the win.
Yeah, and you see, but then the rivalry between Kakamega and Msingu was serious.
Yes.
Like it was sort of a matter of life and death. Because I remember it's sort of that rivalry that do you remember there's a time now cheering squad was banned in high schools?
Yes, it was banned after the 2010 provincial because what happened, according to the official, they said it was uncalled for. Because I remember after the game we engaged in
physical and then hockey sticks.
So it sent a bad image. When the officials sat down, they say now it's a high time we have to do away
with the cheering squad.
But I can say it was cool, because we remember you could go outside, you cheer, you with one attires, with one uniforms. You could put on up to socks.
Yes,
magunia.
Like it was I don't know. It was ilikuwa na hooliganism, but it was fun, you know.
Like, it was hooliganism. Ilikuwa maandamano.
Yeah, like that's what ama nyinyi ndio mnazoma zile streets. You know, been wondering watu kuandamana wanatoka wapi? Kumbe ni nyinyi mlitoka high school na hiyo tabia. Anyway, that's on a light note though. And on the flip side, nini ilikuwa, even before we go there, I think maybe I can just highlight a few things like my best moments.
Yes.
I think still it was always every student's dream kutoka shule. You know, there's that feeling fulfillment uko unapata ukitoka shule, you come back like umetoka outing and unaingia class wa mwisho, watu wamekisha ka prep nyinyi mnaingia, kulikuwa watu we used to feel special.
Yes.
So with that, I used to force miondoko. Like miondoko ni outing, so we'd force anything that can get me out of the school. I joined almost all sporting activities. I was in almost all clubs and societies, you know, things even I didn't have, because I remember there's a time together with your best friend Biko, we went for a science you went to a science congress.
There were two. There was Science Congress and also Youth had Science Symposium, if I'm not sure.
I think when you nenda ilikuwa ni Science Congress, yenye watu walikuwa wanaenda
where you showcase
stuff like projects and anything. Yes. So I remember we went with the home science project. Nakumbuka Msingu alikuwa na so what happened, Biko alikuwa na project ya, I think the CIS or something, alikuwa amefanya project ya home science previously in the school pekwa. So Biko akakuja akaniambia, I have this project, it naweza na ndaza tukasoma tukakram vitu, and that's how we ended up kwenda Science Congress, because with these other projects here hatukuwa poa sciences, so there's nothing much you could do, so we had to go with home science because at least ilikuwa, but we didn't perform badly. Tulikuwa I think number 4 out of usual.
But probably your main aim was not to win.
No, actually it was not to win.
To go outside.
The issue of even doing that project was to go outside. Yes. You know, so obviously najua story high school, kwenda kukutana na madem, kwanza mkisikia your girls school itakuwa huko,
Which was our girls school by then?
But then it was time tulikuwa shule kulikuwa na rivalry between Erege and Mkumu. So by then we leaned more towards Erege.
By the time Erege was doing well, tuliwapatia chance.
So by then we were more inclined to Erege than Mkumu. So we had issues with Mkumu and Msoli at some point. Because I remember kuna time our beef with Mkumu iliendanga, it escalated to an extent. It became now an administrative issue between the two schools, where people used to write funny letters. It was so bad that now the admin had to come in to intervene to solve the issue. So, Dau, can I call them worst moments? Or let's say, let's put it this way. Worst moments in the sense that vitu zenye zili kufanyikia, enye ilifanya ukasikia ni kama unataka kuacha shule.
I can say in Msingu I had a lot of worst moments, and probably because I was always on the wrong side, because I wasn't the kind of disciplined students.
Yeah, this rebellion kind of a student.
I don't know, maybe I can just say teenage, lakini maybe sasa acha nikupatie rebellion wanataka. Because I remember I had problems with the deputy by then, the deputy by then, Mr. Abdiku. Also the deputy head boy. I think everyone who has gone through Msingu between the period of 2011 and 2009 anamjua vizuri, alikuwa anaitwa Opela. Because I remember there's some time when we were in high school, we used to collect soaps from form 1s, I think, from form 1s,
alafu
tunaenda kuuza. So together with Derek Malovi, I know you remember him.
My deskmate.
Steve, I don't know if Steve Biko was there. So sisi tukaenda tukakusanya masabuni of form 1, form 2. I think I was in form 3, I'm not wrong. So it was one day to closing day. So tukaingia hapo, hiyo tulikuwa class. So tunapiga hesabu, tunajua hapa pesa imevana, tuko na kitu.
Pesa kwenda Sizzler. Unauza sabuni kwenda kula chapati.
Sizzler tuongelea another day. So what happened, there's this teacher, anaitwa aje, I'm forgetting, alienda Mautuma. Anaitwa Denzi.
Mr. Shisanya.
So wenye sasa sisi tuna calculate, tunajua profit yetu tutapata dongapi nini, tunaweka hizo sabuni nini, omo nini hapo hivyo. Na hata pia tulikuwa tu mtu amekaa mbaya, tumepita na dictionary yake. So tunapiga hesabu. So what happened? Denzi akakuja. Akachungulia kwa dirisha, akatuona tunapiga hesabu, akakuja akatuambia, mnafanya nini? So we had to come up with a story. I'm sure mwalimu unajua tuna namna, because ni kesho tunafunga shule na wazazi tumewapigia simu hatujatumiwa pesa. So we had to do what we had to do so that we can able to get the money. But I think Denzi akaona hizi sabuni ni mingi sana. So what he used, akatumia threats and intimidation, tukaogopa. So akasema unajua if I take action you can be expelled. So tukamwambia mwalimu we had no option. So after ame to intimidate nini, akazichukua na akatupatia, I think was everyone, akatuuza kila mtu fare nyumbani ngapi. We told him, akatupatia fare, then akachukua hizo sabuni zote. Lakini dictionary kwa hapo, hakuna dictionary ya mtu nilichukua.
No, actually, you talked about the story dictionary, and I remember kuna time there was a huge scandal. You remember there are people who used to steal books. Wakienda kuuza. So they'll take, wanachukua vitabu, textbooks za watu, some wanaiba hata za library. They end up selling. There's a time kulikuwa na scandal yenye there are guys wenye ilipatikana na boxes, a whole box, hiyo sanduku ya shule zimejaa vitabu zenye wanaenda kuuza na calculators. It was a very big scandal. I almost thought you were part of that syndicate.
No, I was not part of that syndicate.
Ebu, tell me experience with prefects, also the Pentagon.
You see, the problem with Msingu, the system was very bad when we got in Msingu. I don't want to blame it to the teachers, and I don't want to blame because it was happening across the schools, which were in Western. Because the prefects had a lot of powers.
Had powers even more than teachers.
Than teachers. So there's all this one prefect, but I do not hold any hard feelings towards him.
It was just part of the journey.
It was part of the journey.
It happened.
Yes,
Whatever.
hata naweza taka tupatane naye tukunywe chai naye. There was this guy called Opela. Opela, I had different encounters with him, and those encounters were not the best because Opela ungepatana naye huko enda kucheka naye. It was the issues of discipline. I remember I can start with the recent event before I got out of Msingu by then. I remember it was during prep time, the evening one. So I was reading an Insider, and as a tradition during those time you're supposed to unafaa kuwa unasoma
vitabu. Yes.
And as you know, I was not mambo ya masomo.
You're not an A student.
I was not an A student.
Yes.
Tuko napelekana. Mimi nilikuwa nasema nataka nimalize. My aim ilikuwa nimalize shule. So the guy comes, it was evening preps, kuja kaangalia kwa dirisha, kaniona nasoma Insider. Akaingia kwa class. So he asked me, although he had that tone ile ya mabuda venye anaongea. I think those who interact now Msingu they can attest.
Yes.
So kuja akachukua Insider where I was seated to my locker. So akaniambia niamke. Nikienda kukalia locker nyingine, there were some people who used to do their studies in the library. So the guy asked me for a pen. The guy starts behaving nicely, I think. Nikaanza kufikiria
it's a done deal.
It's a done deal. Huyu jamaa amesawa. So after preps, the guy tells me to escort him. My friend, I think I do not want to remember those moments. Mwanaume kupiga nduru. So I can say those were one of my worst moments, and the other one which I can recall, I think we were informed to the both of us the same stream ile yenye alichukua si wote.
The
entire class kuzoleka. And it wasn't a good picture.
Yeah, and then by then we were somehow notorious. Yes. In school, like we were these people yenye tulikuwa hapo, but tulikuwa tuna play safe, unajua. Tulikuwa tunasumbua, but not most often, unlike classes zingine. I think the most stubborn class was G. Was it G or R?
During our time?
Yeah.
I think we took the trophy.
Sina tulisumbua, but I think now followed by I think it should be R or
R was discipline. It was for Mr. Alwani.
No, Alwani was W.
Alwani was W. Yes,
W ilikuwa discipline. So I think
it was G. Ile yenye ilikuwa imejaa Waluya.
Acha kuona Waluya sio watu wazuri.
So but I don't know. Okay, Waluya sio Waluya, but I wonder your selection ilikuwaje, because your class now walikuwa wameka Waluya tu.
Like that class literally watu walikuwa naongea
Kiluya. Yes.
So I think that's what happened. Now the encounter mainly na Opela. When was it? There's a time alinishika or something, you know, but from there alikuja akakuwa best yangu karibu anichapa, but nikaenda nikamtisha nikamwambia, because you see one thing that made me survive an advantage that I had, nilikuwa jirani ya shule, you know, so I used to take that. Niliambia Opela, ukiniguza home uone penye utapitia, you know, so alikuja nikamtisha. There's a time hata aliogopa kwenda home, so nikamwambia no, we good. So from there he was just my friend.
But God in your dynasty, because rumors were going by that your your grandfather donated the land.
Exactly. And you see, I used to use that to my advantage. Yes. Because you know that hiyo njia inatoka kwa gate all the way mpaka side ya dining hall. Ilikuwa inaitwa it was named after my grandfather.
Yes.
You know. So nilikuwa naambia mtu, you know my name. Ukisoma hiyo signpost, hii njia ni gani?
Ulikuwa dynasty ndugu yako.
So that's what made me survive in high school. Yes. For some reasons. So kuna hii time nimeambiwa nilivunjika mguu. Nikaamua I want to be cheeky here. What I did, I decided to make a diet for myself. So nikaenda after kuvunjika mguu nikaenda hosi, nikaweka plaster and all that. So coming back to school with the plaster, and I went to the nurse and I told the nurse I was advised by the doctor, because of this injury I have to take a lot of calcium to regain the energy na nini ndio mguu ipone haraka. So nikamwambia nurse, umeniambia nikuwa nakula omena miguu za ng'ombe supu, ninajua. that shows you I was good at sciences because can lijua hizo vitu zinaongeza culture.
But it didn't reflect in the scores.
No, ilikuwa more of application science, not theory. Yeah, so nikaambia nas akaniandikia barua. I took it to the boarding master. Boarding master looked at it because already imetoka kwa nasi kwa na stamp they haizi pingana. Ikapewa katreso. Mimi nilikuanga na diet yangu. Watu wakimaliza kula mimi ndio naingia DH wa mwisho. So unajua, do you know that kulikuwa hiyo feeling if ukikula chakula yenye si ya students,
Yes.
either ni ya home ama ni ya staff room, like ulikuwa na watu wengi.
Honestly chakula ilikuwa terrible by the way.
Yeah, shule ilikuwa terrible. So if you can get food yenye imepikwa vizuri, ilikuwa nikaa privilege. So by then tulikuwa tuna hiyo saa time naleta food ya home nini. So nilikuwa na wafuasi wote wanakuja VIP treatment wenye ananipelekea maji moto kwa bafu and all that, just ndio mtu aonje food, naona. So kila mtu mimi leo nitakupelekea maji nini, which was good, somehow a good experience. So Dau, being in high school kulikuwa na issue like usipo sneak ama ufanya nini wesibu. Did you ever sneak out of the school in high school?
Sneaking I did. Because there's a time I sneaked. I had to sneak. It was music festival. It was happening at Kakamega High School. And you see, being in school on a weekend, sometimes my friend, it was one of the boring moments. So especially on Sunday. Now that Saturday at least was better off because of entertainment.
Yeah.
So I had to convince the son of the principal, by then Mr. Aliva Luvaso. His son was called Jeremiah.
Yeah. So ulisema kani kusnake
because I had to gamble, because if we are caught now
umeenda na serikali.
Nimeenda na serikali. Hapa hakuna kwenda nyumbani. When I did my thing, I told Jeremiah, look, now we can't just be in school. Jeremiah, the music festival is happening. Yes, do you know the route we can use to get to Kakamega High School? I told him yes. That's how we ended up being in Kakamega High School. Of course, the story spread that there are some students who sneaked out, but we survived. And then there was another encounter, I think we sneaked with Mohat. Yeah. We went and had some good time, danced.
Like, you see,
at your home and came back.
You see, for me, during those days, I never used to sneak because I want to sneak or because I miss home. Because me nikiwa shule nilikuwa naona home. I'll talk to anyone at home. I'll know what is happening at home. But now I used to sneak just for fun. You know, who was the sneak? Mimi. And then you see how I used to survive. Mimi nilikuwa najua how the school operates. And that's one thing many students didn't realize. Because people wanted to sneak after prep suko late. But that was never the best time to sneak. Because at that time, the watchman wana patrol. So for me, I remember I was with the Shiki. So what we used to do, we used to sneak either mchana, like during the day, or early evenings time, watu wako prep. Because what happens, hiyo time ya prep, watchmen are at the gate. Hiyo time wanakunywa chai waiting after prep mission ndio anze kupatrol. Because I remember we'd go, switch off security light, tuna sneak, tunaenda home, tunarudi, bado security lights ziko off, we switch them back on, and no one will never notice. So that's one thing that we knew the right time.
I think you're an expert because the time we sneaked with you, it was so smooth.
It's smooth.
Yes.
You know. So for me, I used to sneak for fun, not because I want to go do anything serious. Because most of it, if I sneak, I used to sneak and go home. Just go eat food at home, maybe rest, and then come back after prep, and then go sleep at the dormitory. Because I used to ask myself, why should I struggle? Mostly if I'm sleepy, why should I struggle with sleep in class to be caught and be punished when I can go and sleep at home and then come back?
And actually, it was the face only that was separating you between you and home.
It was just the fence. So I used to sneak just for fun. And then the last highlight of my moment in high school as we close was it? I think we were in Form 3. The time tuition was banned. There's a time tuition was banned, and I think by then Mutula Kilonzo was the CS for. By then, the Minister for Education.
Yes.
So what happened? We were in school back for tuition, because remember, if you are Form 3 and Form 4, you used to close for 2 weeks, come back for tuition 2 weeks, and then you go home maybe for 2 or 3 days, and then come back now for normal opening. So this time we're in school, and then tuition is banned. So schools are students are being told to go back home. Okay, so what happened? Mko shule and then mnasikia shule fulani imetoka, because by then tulikuwa na masimu shule, so wanapigiwa sisi tumeachiliwa. So ndio like, kwani sisi taishi shule? So what happened? I remember we went to art room. Ilikuwa rende kubwa kuna wasa art ni, so we decided to call the Ministry of Education.
Hiyo ilipita
but then tulikuwa tunasumbua, so tukapigia Ministry of Education tukaambia tunajua tuition imebaniwa, lakini si bado tumefungiwa
shule
because unajua by then hata mko mnalawiwa kutoka shule because ni hao walikuwa wana patrol. So tulikuwa most of the time tuko class, tukaenda tu tukapigia. So after amesikia, the following day walikuja. So tukafanya, kwa hiyo group tulikuwa watu wengi, watu wa 4, I think tulikuwa form 4 something, tulikuwa watu wa 4A, I think either form 4 or form 3, but tulikuwa form 4 actually, tulikuwa 4A. So what happened, when watu officials of Ministry of Education walikuja, nakumbuka place 4A ilikuwa huku mwisho.
Yeah, near on your way to art room.
Yeah, ilikuwa the last class kwa hiyo block. Unaona, because kuna 4A and then 4B the other side. So when our ministry ilikuja, we knew they were coming. Sasa tuko class tumekanika tunasoma, tuna concentrate, because I remember that time I think we were having, was it Swahili lesson or something. So obviously unajua wakianza ku announce watu wanaenda home, inaanzia huko form 3 block.
Yes.
So watu wanaambia mnaenda home, form 3 wanafurahi, hizi class nyingine watu wanapiga nduru, tukajua. So what happened, by the time principal anafika class yetu, already we knew what was happening, so we had to behave like hatutaki kwenda home. Sema no, si hatutaki kwenda, tunajifunza tunasoma.
And those are the same guys walikuwa wanapiga sasa. But always sijui kwa nini sikujua hiyo kitu.
Hiyo kitu tulifanya kwanza, ilikuwa mimi na Gonya ndio tulipigia simu. Tukapiga, because I had the phone, then Gonya ndio letter ni nilipatia namba ya Ministry of Education. Unaona? Ni education official. So by the time principal anafika class yetu, because it was the last one to announce watu waenda home, we are behaving as if we don't know what is happening already. Tunaona tunapita na mattress. So, and that's how we ended up finishing the tuition prematurely, because now there's no way to endelea kwa shule when the ministry officials walikuwa wamekuja. And that's how our experience in high school was. So if you have an amazing story that you want to share, how your life in high school was, kama ulikuwa bullied or when ulikuwa na bully watu, whatever that you want to share, kindly tell us in the comment section and we'll reach out. Until next time, it's been your host, Godwin Segero, and my guest,
Daudi Othimi Waire. Thank you. I believe it has been a good conversation. Nashukuru sana bwana Godwin.
Na watoto nyumko shule sasa yenye you know your rights. Remember, for us ilikuwa nikaa prison. We didn't have rights, but either way we managed to survive. That's why we're here today. Till next time, peace.